Welcome to the Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In this week's show, we're going to recap Fight to Win 121, talk about the finals match for SOGi, we're going to preview the Shugyo Invitational, Fight to Win 122, Kinektic Submission Grappling, Kasai Pro 6, talk a little about the Holy Grail Invitational, and Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. Just realized it is a giant show, Emil.
Yeah, I'm buckled in, man. I'm ready.
You better be. We got this new setup now
with
all the lights and stuff, so we're going to see how this turns out. It could go great. It could go terrible.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start? We'll start with news.
Let's start introducing ourselves.
As always on the show, I'm your host, Maine, joined with my co-host,
Emil, for my bi-weekly appearance. Yeah.
Dude, I am all thrown off. We have all these lights and everything else lined up.
I'm loving the new setup, man. This is great.
It's awesome. Rachel and I rearranged the entire basement.
Yeah. So now I have to look at your ugly mug the entire recording.
Yeah, that was kind of the goal, but I realized I'm already pointing sideways. Let me fix that, actually. So, if you don't know what we look like, we're going to put the show out on YouTube this week and see how that works out. So, let's start with news.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So, there's been more ADCC movement. Keenan and Mike Fowler have
rotated
divisions.
Yeah.
So, I talked to Fowler a little bit, and he was like, there was talk about movement, talk about not movement. Keenan wanted to move, so he's like, I moved.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. I'm curious to see why kind of that happened. You think Keenan bulked up, or maybe
Keenan talked about it a little bit on the Matt Burn podcast.
Yeah,
that he had, he was getting big, and he was talking about he was kind of concerned about the cut, and there was kind of thought that he was going to change division. It was kind of quietly, and then he ended up changing divisions. It wasn't really that surprising, but it's cool that the trials winner can come down, he can go up.
It is interesting that that they allow for these rotations. It's funny to me because it's such a insanely competitive event. You would think that they wouldn't be very tolerant of people shifting that around.
I mean, I appreciate that they do it that way, though, because you get to see guys, oh, I can't make the weight, you can't go. It's like, okay, well, if you can move you around, it's because also it's every 2 years. So it's Gordon can't make his weight class anymore.
That's
you
true.
move him up. Yuri wants to go up. It's I like that they work with guys in order to showcase the guys that I want to see as a fan on an event. So
it's true. It does suck that some divisions will be missing the
returning champ. Yeah. I mean, it's a little annoying, but I'd much rather see those guys in a different weight class than not see them at all. So it's
totally
I'm not that upset with it.
Absolutely.
In other ADCC news, I'm super excited about this. I am going to be the backstage interviewer for the social media for ADCC.
Hell yeah, man! We found out about this a couple weeks ago. You want to see how it went down?
No, not really.
Oh, well, all right, fine. I'll fucking brag for you. Maine got asked to do backstage interviews for all the competitors and shit. That's fucking huge. Official goddamn interview.
I don't know how official it is, but it's definitely I got asked by Seth.
By Seth. That's official to me. What do you need, a memo or something?
I would as a pretty dude, I issue memos all the time. I would love a memo hey, this is what you're doing. So I'm super excited about that. It puts me behind the stage to actually talk to the guys that I'm super interested in talking about.
Yep.
In other news, Emil just booked his ADCC tickets.
I know. It's actually fucking the cheapest ticket somehow that I've spent this year.
Dude, I bought my ticket 7 months ago. You paid less for your flights than I did.
It's cheaper for me to fly from Baltimore all the way across the goddamn country to Los Angeles and back again than it has been for me to fly to Arkansas, Michigan, and Puerto Rico. All of those are more expensive tickets.
It's a 5.5 hour flight from here to LA.
Yeah.
You want to tell me what you pay for it or no?
$193.
Dude, I paid $209 for mine. I paid $260 for Rachel's.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous that you booked a couple weeks before and it's cheaper than my flights. So that's awesome.
Well, it makes sense. You're going to be doing the backstage interviews. I'll be doing all of the typical Grappling Rewind analysis.
Oh, yeah, so we're planning on doing podcasts on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So basically Friday after the weigh-ins, we'll do a show. Hopefully going to put some interviews in there as well with some other guys that I've kind of started to schedule up for ADCs that are going to be on ADCC. Then Saturday we'll do a kind of a recap of day 1, and then Sunday we'll do a recap of day 2, and then I'm going to fly back Monday, and then we'll probably maybe do a regular show Monday. I don't really know. ADCC week is going to be super crazy, but we're going to be putting out much more content. Speaking of other content, I shot a big video that should be coming out hopefully this week, which is how to get on a BJJ super fight.
That's right.
And it's about an 18-minute video of breaking down everything that we've found over the years. I actually talked to a bunch of promoters leading up to making this video and to ask them hey, specifically, what are you looking for from the grapplers that are applying to your events, or when you're selecting grapplers, if it's an invitation event, for the grapplers that you feature on the event. And because you have a good relationship with a lot of the promoters, all of them are like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. And so I basically compiled all of that into a big video, as well as some of the stuff that like Emil, Josh, all guys on the team have seen over the years for guys that get successfully booked on numerous these events.
Really helpful information in there, especially the field is so wide right now. It's easy for promoters. You need only 8, sometimes up to 16 people in a tournament bracket. But that's pretty easy to fill up with really, really awesome competitors. So how do you stand out as a competitor? How do you make it attractive for promoters to approach you? So,
and I
really
filmed
awesome
this video. I filmed this video 4 times, and so the 4th time was a charm on it. I'm editing up now. Hopefully, it should be up later this week on our YouTube page.
Yeah.
Super excited again. Thanks to all the promoters that gave me information about their events. It was a really awesome experience. We're gonna be doing more of videos like these in the future.
Awesome.
So, in other news, we are also going to be running the ADCC Mat Madness. So basically like a March Madness bracket for ADCC. I'm in the process of setting it up with like prizes and everything else to figure out. So you're going to submit, basically people who listen to the Grappling Rewind can submit their brackets, and all the staff is going to submit their brackets for how they think each division is going to go. And then it'll basically like March Madness style bracket. And then we'll see who got the closest bracket in ADCC. I'm going to murder all of you at this.
I'm going to fucking destroy you. You get all emotional about your picks.
I do. I'm a gut pick guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm really like, you're kind of a numbers guy with your picks.
Yeah.
Like, I think you beat him before.
Like, you'll
this.
pick someone that you want. I pick someone that I know is going to win. I know.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I want this guy to win. Kind of picker.
For example,
okay, that's reasonable.
would you pick Orlando Sanchez to go to the finals?
Yeah,
see?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, see, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So we're doing that. Look out for that. That's probably a little further down the line, but we're setting that up. Super excited about that. Thanks to David Fried on Twitter for suggesting we do that. It's gonna be. I'm super excited about that as well. Dude, ADCC is just getting better and better in the lead up to it, and it is the most wonderful time of the year.
Absolutely.
Christmas ain't close. So in other news, other ADCC, kind of not ADCC news, Gordon Ryan has pulled out of the IBJJF Heavyweight Grand Prix.
Yeah, so this is been kind of alarming because not only did he pull out of the IBJJF Heavyweight Grand Prix and get replaced by Mateus Diniz, but
which is a pretty good replacement, by the way. Like if you're gonna replace him with a guy, that's a really good guy.
Yeah, Mateus Diniz is great. But they also had rescheduling of the Gordon Ryan Felipe Pena rematch, right? Like
on third. They were supposed to rematch for the 3rd time on Third Coast Grappling coming up with the December 3rd card, and I don't know if that was just a reschedule or Gordon pulled out of that. I assume Gordon didn't pull out of that. We were kind of speculating before we started recording on like, did he pull out or was it a reschedule? Again, I probably need to talk to the guys over at Third Coast to like see if they have some more information they can provide me for this. But you were kind of concerned that he's injured.
This comes up as ADCC news because now we have 2 events that are 4 months out or more that Gordon is in that have been kind of like moved around, rescheduled, or pulled out of, and like, what does that mean for Gordon going into ADCC? He hasn't pulled out. He's still.
I feel like that if it had an ADCC implication, you have to pull out of the heavyweight GP if you're not quite ready yet. Which I honestly, given its proximity to ADCC, like I wasn't that surprised. Like I'm kind of surprised some of the guys that are doing it, given the kind of the names on it. The Third Coast thing, I'm honestly kind of less concerned about it because it's so far out. Like if it was an injury thing, why would you pull out of it and then reschedule it for January? And you brought up, and I hope it's not true, that you think he's potentially putting off a surgery, like he'll compete ADCC injured maybe.
I have seen, the only times that I've seen this kind of behavior before is, across all sports, is when someone has like an elective surgery that is like not completely critical, but is a lot safer for them in the long term. Yeah. Where they'll be like, all right, I'll do this really important thing short term.
Like, I'll defend my world title, and then I'll go do this thing. But it's like, I can compete on like 90%. It's like, so that's maybe what he could be doing. I hope that's not the case because I want like a full strength Gordon.
Fully armed and operational Gordon Ryan.
I hope so, dude. He's so much fun to watch at ADCC. Like, in that rule set, that dude brings the fire.
I mean, he's fun to watch on any rule set.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's one of the guys. He's a Wagner. He's fun to watch in any rule, so he'll make it exciting.
Exactly.
So that's another Third Coast Grappling news. The winner of the Grappling Industries event, I think in October. I realized I've actually put the screen far too forward, so I can't actually look at it.
Tilt it.
Boom. Oh, that's way better. The October 5th event in Houston, the I think the absolute bracket winners for male and female will get their registration fees returned, and they will receive a pair of tickets to the Gordon Ryan versus Felipe Pena. It was, the December 7th card, which was the Gordon Ryan Felipe Pena card. This actually came out before the pullout and the change of dates. Third Coast and other news has announced that they're going to leave Flow after the December event. They're going to fight their contract out. Basically, they were contracted for a couple events with Flow. They've decided to part ways and create their own their own streaming service.
Platform, yeah.
So good for them. Wish them best of luck. We're going to continue to cover their events. Doesn't really change what we do a whole lot, but it is pretty big news. We know when an event decides to go and make their own platform. Let's see what else we have. Third Coast is scheduling to do 15 events in 2020.
Dang.
That's a lot of events.
That's a lot.
I think, they've been around for just a year now, and they've already done a couple qualifiers and a couple really good events. So awesome. Another Gordon news. Gordon signed with Future Kimonos, and he's created some really funny Instagram videos and stuff regarding their products. Seth Thanos has announced with Fight to Win that he's going international. They've booked Manchester, UK.
That is wild.
We speculated about this. I want to say when they did Hawaii. They're going to go international, do something. Yeah. And Josh was like, they'll probably do UK. I was like, they're not going to do UK, and then they've done UK. Apparently, they're going to go to Sao Paulo, but Kasai booked the same venue the same day.
That's hilarious.
Is what I think my guest Seth kind of alluded to it. Seth did an interview on Third Coast Grappling, on the Fistful of College podcast this week. Really great interview, honestly. I'm super excited because Seth is always fun to hear on interviews.
Yeah,
and he gave
he's a character. Yeah,
he's a character. He also gave a really good interview for me, kind of a little the behind the scenes stuff that I really like as kind of what we do here. It was a really insightful interview. Highly recommend. It's about an hour.
It bodes well for the sport that we're starting to grow now. It's wild that these U.S. promotions are starting to go to Brazil, and
that's crazy. It's like we live in a crazy world where it's there are now traveling promotions. Kasai does events in different locales. Fight to Win does stuff every weekend in a different place. It's cool.
Yeah.
We live in an awesome grappling time right now.
I agree. Especially with the resurgence of sort of this other semi-professional judo circuit that's kind of arising out of Fight to Win.
It's the only professional judo. It's
right.
Hey, it's a judo super fight. Oh, dude. We talk about Dan Dykman's match this weekend.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk a lot about judo actually this week. So I'm excited.
In other news, so now you're at ADCC. I was gonna try to meet up with people that listen to the show for lunch at some point in ADCC.
Oh, cool.
I don't know when I'm gonna do that, but I had it in news because I want to do it because I want to talk to people because I know there's gonna be a bunch of people that listen to the show.
We'll go tacos or something.
I figured, there's great stuff in LA. I figured there's a bunch of people from the event they listen to the show that'll be there. Sure. So I figured all right, let's try to do a meetup because that would be dope to be with a bunch of grappling nerds and have lunch.
Yeah.
And we can all yell at each other about Matt Madness.
Yeah.
And let's see. And my last piece of news is Rodolfo Vieira gets a win in the UFC. And my note is fucking shocker.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was not a super easy matchup.
Yeah.
It was good. It was honestly a good fight. Rodolfo looked pretty dominant. He does a head outside single.
Okay.
And he kind of hangs out there for a little bit. And he gets elbowed a lot. Didn't drop, but it was at the end of a round, and he kind of held out there, and it was a little concerning because the ref kind of got close, and I was like, ooh, he is getting elbowed pretty hard here. Eventually, he gets it down. I think he finished it with an arm triangle.
Cool.
Arm triangle around 2. Looked really good, but it was
that's crazy. We have a new batch of jiu-jitsu competitors entering the UFC.
I'm super upset about it. I want to see him grapple.
Yeah, but I mean, it is cool to.
It is pretty cool.
You just reminded me. There's a really great podcast, ESPN 30 for 30. You know they do the movies.
You talk about this occasionally.
Oh yeah. The absolutely. I'll plug it again. If you haven't listened to the ESPN 30 for 30 on the Birth of the UFC podcast.
Oh yeah,
go.
I haven't listened to it yet,
dude. It's so good. You see how bootstrap the UFC is, and so to see jiu-jitsu get to the point where we're now having these international events and stuff, it's so much farther than where the UFC began. It gives me hope that, the sport will continue to flourish and grow. So
it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Dude. So I need to, how old is the documentary? How old is the podcast?
Oh, it's amazing.
How old is it?
Oh, how old is it?
Probably you
only
mentioned
about a year.
Okay.
Yeah,
because you might have mentioned it right when it came out then to me.
Yeah.
And we talked about it on the show a little bit, and I was like, I need to watch that.
Yeah.
And then it's been time and I haven't done it. So.
It's incredible, man.
Sweet. All right. I think that does it for news. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, let's move on to it. So on to our recap of Fight to Win 121. This event took place in Austin, Texas on August 10th and paid at a total of $38,701 in salaries and commissions, and is headlined by Natalie Carolina, defeating Gabby Garcia via decision to become the Fight to Win female heavyweight champion.
Holy shit, man! This card was awesome.
This, dude,
I
great
can't wait
payout too.
Yeah.
On the card.
Yeah, a huge card. Like these numbers keep going up and up.
Dude, Austin cards are always good.
Yeah.
Like every time, because there's like a couple locales in Fight to Win. Like all the North Cal events are great. On the East Coast events, I'm like kind of partial to because like I know all the guys. Florida events are good. Like all the coastal events for Fight to Win are always great. And then Austin and like that Texas events are always like all those Texas grapplers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Actually,
and
one of
they bring
my old training partners is a brown belt out in Austin now too.
Sweet.
I should pick his brain because he's a judo guy too. He's I think up there in judo as well. Another brown belt in judo, so he might actually be able to explain the moves that I'm trying to.
Yeah, Emil was talking about before the recording. He's like, yeah, she looked up the names for the judo throws now. I was like, oh, that's actually we should have done that like 6 months ago.
You know
probably.
What's interesting about this card is that this is the second time that I've noticed it, where clearly the fight of the night and submission of the nights for judo and BJJ are not separate.
Yeah,
it's all together. So now
both fight of the nights are the judo ones.
So Seth is like, yo, jiu-jitsu, step your game up. You know, like.
Dude, the judo matches are good. Like
they're so good,
they're dope.
Man. They're really good.
So let's start with the top. Let's start with Natalie Carolina. Natalie Jesus?
Yeah, Jesus.
Okay, yeah, it's not listed like that. I was like, that's her name, right? Yeah. Defeating Gabby Garcia via decision. She takes the champion from Gabby Garcia.
Holy shit, this match.
I was surprised.
Yeah, I was shocked because...
Have these two women met before? Did Natalie sub her before?
I can't recall.
I'm not sure. They were playing a promo and she had.
So this was surprising to me because... it was a pretty decisive win for Nathalie. Like it was very clear so Nathalie starts off playing a lot of open guard and doing like kind of medium range guard, spider grips, crab ride, stuff like that. And Gabby is completely laser focused on getting like a double underpass. Like she is just...
That's really all she wants. I'm not sure if that's like... And we see this sometimes. I don't want to discount it like in either side. We see this a lot of times when people get close to really, really big events. They have a game plan they're trying to implement. I'm not sure if it was Garcia like only going for the underpass or like that's what I'm working for ADCC. That's what I want. And so like I don't know if that was like a little of column A, a little of column B, but you're right. Like that's what she wants. She wanted to pass a certain way.
Right. So Nathalie hits these amazing sweep combos, and one of the first sweep combo that she hits, like she slams Gabby's head into the mat hard. Like you heard the mat just go boom like that. And the crowd was going fucking nuts, dude.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear the mics peaking?
Dude, the crowds like were peaking the mics. I was like, yo, like are there crowd mics? I don't think there were crowd mics. Like
I don't think so.
It was so
wild.
Loud. This was one of the. I think there was another event. I want to say like last year, like end of 2018. That was like this super loud. I don't know how like if it was the venue, but it was like it got me fired up to watch.
The commentators had to raise their voices to talk over the crowd. That's how. Like people were going absolutely nuts.
That's when you know it's good.
Yeah, like after the sweep combo, they are just screaming, they're chanting the whole time. It's deafening. And again, the mics were peaking. That's how loud it was. So like towards the end, Nathalie gets like another sweep, and she rather than getting up to like get the non-existent sweep points,
right?
She goes into that insane toe hold, like. And which was really smart for the rule set. Which
you got to go for the subs.
I'm going to talk about that in the judo matches. You got to know your rule set, and she knew it. She said, "Fuck the sweep, non-existent points. I'm going for the toe hold now that she has the position." And I'm pretty sure that was the deciding factor. In this match.
It's it was definitely the deepest sub, and you saw Garcia like
had to roll out,
had to roll and had to deal with it, and like she had like again, if you're throwing up sub attempts and fight to win, that because then also like the sweep, the sub, like I think she beats her like. Even without that sub attempt, like she looked really dominant. Garcia was trying to pass and get around.
Nathalie has a couple more towards the at the expiring seconds of the match. She ends the match with a triangle and a straight armbar attempt. They weren't as deep as the total.
It was also right at the end.
Yeah,
like, it looked good, but it was one of those like I think subs in the last like 10 I hold like far less weight for subs that are in like the last like 10 15. It's like yeah, there's something there, but it's like both guys are trying something, and it's like you almost never see. The only time you see subs finish at the last second is when a guy's been on someone's back and for like a minute, and like he just like squeezes and gets. It's like you don't usually see the flash sub with 1 second. You see it. Actually, we have seen it in Fight to Win, like not too infrequently, but it is pretty rare. So I hold. Like, I shouldn't, but I hold, like, far less value on those, like, last second subs.
I mean, how many times have we seen people just throw up a desperation straight ankle lock?
Those don't count.
Yeah, exactly.
We said on the show, those don't count. If you throw up an ankle lock at the end of the match, get the fuck out of here. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
No.
So, a very decisive win for Nathalie. Really exciting match.
Really good performance.
Really
super.
good performance.
I was very, very impressed with her game here. She was composed. Garcia comes in and bowls people over, and Natalie stayed composed the entire time, implemented her game, and just looked good.
Put Gabby's head on the mat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Super impressive performance. I'm super excited to see who Natalie defends the belt against.
Yeah. Should be really interesting, but really exciting.
Yeah.
Really, really exciting.
Want the next match?
Yeah, let's do it. So we got Jonathan Satava defeating Cody Steele by decision.
You paused like I was gonna read the name of you.
I never can tell, man. Sometimes
I have no consistency. If it's a name I know, I'll read it. But if it's a name I don't know, I'll pause like an idiot and look at you like Emil, come on, fix this for me.
You know Jonathan Satava. This is a classic Marcelo Garcia.
Marcelo Garcia.
Classic Marcelo guy. We saw a lot of butterfly.
It looked like Marcelo's game.
Yeah.
A little bit adapted.
Those guys generally do, they build off of that sort of technique set.
Dude, I was so excited the entire time watching this match because Jonathan Satava plays a really similar game to the game I want to play.
Yeah.
And so we were talking we watched this match again before we recorded, and I was just nerding out of all the guillotine setups he does and what Cody Steele was doing.
Just listing these things off that I saw from him, they're just classic Marcelo stuff. We got butterfly guards, single leg X, guillotines, straight arm bars, arm in guillotines. I would say out of these,
but even what I thought was really more not just the techniques he did, but the way he did them, the way that he establishes the butterfly with the head nice and tight in, high up, where he's almost almost kneeling with the really heavy double underhook grips and the hands locked.
The underhook
the 100% grip. 10 calls 100% grip, where you try to overhook on the far side shoulder and turn them over.
Yep.
He uses that. He doesn't use it for the turnover, but it opens up the violent arm lock off the top there, or the gringo sweep. All of this stuff you've seen in every Marcelo highlight. It's really cool to see a current level guy at a top level black belt implement that same game and have it be so successful, because Cody Steele is a monster.
Man. Yeah, really good. But in this case, Satava just dominates, and he had a really awesome arm and guillotine into a Sumigaeshi sweep.
Mm-hmm. I thought he was actually going to finish that, but the arm, what he was trying to do is he swept him over in the butterfly of the Sumigaeshi, and then he was still arm in, and Cody Steele was doing a really good job of blocking the top shoulder so that you couldn't what you needed to do when you have the arm in on top is the finishing mechanics for the arm and guillotine are sideways. You've got to turn to the side in order to crank sideways on the neck. For the straight guillotine, which is what Satava goes for, which is more so what Marcelo goes for, it is a different finishing mechanic, and so you have to really you have to take the arm out and get it above in front of the shoulder, and Steele's doing a really good job the first time. The second time, Satava's kind of really similar setup here, and Satava gets both hands in front of the neck, he drops both shoulders over, and you're like, oh, this is in, and Steele does something really good, and it's the only time you really want to do this. Steele gets his back completely flat to the mat.
Right.
And for this particular guillotine choke, when both arms are pinched over the shoulders on the guillotine, if you're mounted on your opponent, if your opponent flattens out, your elbows get caught on the mat and basically push the neck out. And so it's the one instance where it's getting completely flat will actually prevent you from getting choked because it pushes your opponent's elbows off of that high elbow guillotine.
Really good defense.
Yeah, beautiful defense. You saw Cody Steele under pressure, because I have put dudes to sleep with that exact choke in that exact same way, and if they don't make that turn, it's so deep. I cannot explain how deep that choke was.
Yeah,
absolutely. To a guy that doesn't know it.
Yeah,
beautiful, great match. I'm super biased for butterfly guillotine guys because that's all I do. And so my fight of the night, hands down, because I love that game, and it was a really fun, exciting match on all fronts.
So next up, we have Nisar Loinab defeating Yago D'Souza by split decision. Denelson Pimenta defeating Tommy Montoya by armbar. Travis Moore defeating Myron Kamihara by toe hold. Justin Rice defeating Rodolfo Canales Estima by Estima lock.
I read that. I was like, his last name's not Estima. Emil's gonna read it as Estima.
Another fucking Estima brother. Alex Henley defeating Lance Yeager by flying triangle. Tony Lipton defeating Curtis Hembroff by decision.
Tipton,
my bad. Marcio Jr.
That's his name on Facebook.
Yep. Defeating Lynn Hughes by decision. Jameer Toledo defeating Cesar Milahira by split decision. Thiago Scalo defeating Tommy McKay by decision. Manuel Hibamar defeating Ralphie Sebexon by decision.
You got Hibamar fine, but you've messed up all the other names.
Yes.
We also know Hibamar. We see Hibamar all the time.
All the time. Ricardo Nogueira defeating Fernando de Jesus by decision.
On to the judo results.
So I want to talk a little bit about the judo before I talk about the matches individually. This was really interesting because in both matches I saw mistakes that were made by the judoka that could be because they were brought up on the current like judo rule set.
I think calling them mistakes is like I don't think mistakes. I know where you're going with it. I don't think mistakes is the right way. I think it's
not optimizing for the rule set.
Correct. I think that's better. It's like, hey, things that I saw that could potentially be exploited in this rule set that would result in like bad positions later if you see people that can cap. Like we saw Dykeman. Let's talk about the first match. Then let's talk about the Dykeman match. So you want to talk about what you saw first?
Yeah. Let's. Okay. Well, I'll talk about it in the matches themselves. Okay. So first up, we have Nathan Kearney defeating Austin Krieger by bow and arrow choke, and that was submission of the night for the judokas. Well, for all black belts.
For all black belts. It's funny. It's listed as 2 ippons in the results.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
It's bow and arrow choke.
It's bow and arrow. Yeah. So there was an absurd ogoshi. That's the like standard hip throw that you learn kind of like
talking to the mic.
Day one sort of self-defense jiu-jitsu, and Nathan hits it, and I mean like it looked like he was tripoding by completely bending at the hips. That's how much he lifted. And
would you say it was a highlight reel throw?
It was a highlight reel throw, but then it was a highlight reel defense because Austin plants his head and does like the kind of like the judo counter to that to spin out of it. So it's not an ippon. And 30 seconds later, Nathan goes for an uchimata, which is the leg in between.
My favorite throw. I love that throw.
It's a very versatile throw, and it sets up a lot of other
Everyone
throws.
hates it in jiu-jitsu because like jiu-jitsu people are so garbage at it.
Well, they're terrified of blowing their knees out.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
I think if you know what you're doing, you won't do that. But yeah, we're terrible at judo throws, and I think that's honestly why people are terrified of doing it. So he goes for the uchimata, and Austin steps around the uchimata, and Nathan readjusts and plants his foot kind of far across both legs for a tai otoshi.
Mm-hmm. That's the throw that scares the shit out of me, because if you do it wrong, the guy lands in your leg and it blows your knee apart.
Laterally, yeah.
And it's like, so I had a judo coach back at my old gym that was like really, really particular with like how you did the throw. So then it was like, because like he was teaching you, it's like, hey, be aware that if you do it like this, like, and the guy lands like wrong on you, like you blow your leg out. And so, like, do it like this so that, like, it folds the leg properly. And you see high-level judokas do it way differently. But, like, I remember that discussion because I was like, oh, because I did it wrong once. And I was like, ow, that hurt my leg a bit. Oh, I get what you're saying with your leg blows apart.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great readjustment. And so that is an ippon that Nathan scores off of that beautiful readjustment. Austin goes... So here's the first time where I'm like, not great instincts for this rule set. Austin goes, after he gets thrown by tai otoshi, Austin goes belly down. And that's great in judo, in standard judo, but in this case, like...
Give me that back meat.
Yeah, exactly. Give me the back meat. It's, even though you've had... Like, he was doing it to try to avoid the ippon.
Right.
And...
Which you do have to avoid.
Which you have to avoid, but the ippon doesn't end the match. And so, in this case... He would have been better landing flat on his back and not giving the backup, because this is where Nathan maintains the grip and he does the exact same bow and arrow judo finish that we talked about 2 weeks ago, where he...
Judokas are really good.
Fucking
this is such a
nasty.
good... I love this finish,
it's such a dope finish. Like, so your opponent's belly down, you have your bow and arrow grip, and you step your shin on the back of their neck, and you just like yank and stomp out. It's like,
I call this an execution finish. Like,
100%.
And it's Japanese finish, but every time you have the hand, anytime you have a limb behind someone's neck and you're pushing them down like as you lift
leg,
up, dude,
you know, like it's why the Peruvian necktie is so fucking nasty.
Oh my god!
Because
I pulled my back. I think a Peruvian necktie with a white belt.
Yeah. You fucking evil motherfucker.
No, I pulled my own back. I went for it, and I like deadlifted on my own back, and I went, oh, and I tweaked my back, and I couldn't like stand up for the next day.
Meanwhile, you decapitated a white belt.
I mean,
like, it's such a nasty finish, and you can see that. So Nathan gets the submission, and Austin is like dazed when he taps. Like Seth is like kind of checking in on him.
Hey, you're gonna die? Yeah. Okay, we're good. It's like it reminds me all the BJJ Scout videos, Valhalla Club.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I love judo, but man, that's why like Seth as a judo ref like knows jiu-jitsu, so he's not gonna let guys like just get choked out for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
there's been some fight. I know BJJ Scout is only posting like the worst of the worst like mistakes,
right?
But they haven't run out of them yet, and I'm kind of like, okay, judo, he's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, where it's like you watch him and like, okay, he's asleep.
Fucking
they're asleep.
Mario Yamasaki School of Reffing.
They're asleep. It's like, dude, I kind of want it was 13 and a half seconds. I'm like, if I called it at 13, it's like, oh my God, like they were asleep for a while. So Seth Daniels is a much better judo ref than that.
100%.
And
yeah,
great finish. Like I love seeing this finish. This whole match was just like
definitely submission of the night. I love that finish.
Next match, let's talk about Taylor Webb defeats Dan Dykeman via 2 ippons. So I talked to Dan about this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We were talking to him on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, just blow our spot up there, man.
Well, whatever.
That's where I talk to most people. Honestly, like 90, probably like 80% of where I talk to people is like Instagram. Like, hey, we're talking about your match. What was this? Or like, what happened here?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, did you know? He goes, I got off the plane. And Seth was like, you're doing a judo match. And he was like, okay. And he had a jiu-jitsu gi on. It was just like Dan Dykeman stepping up to like do his first ever judo match on the stage of Fight to Win versus Taylor Weber.
He did, despite the outcome. I think Dan did really well. And again,
dude, Dan is built for the Fight to Win rule set.
Yeah.
Like that dude, he threw a flying triangle.
Yeah.
In this match, and it was like a good flying triangle. Every match we see Dan on, like one of the first things he does is like throw a flying scissor takedown or a flying sub. Like Dan is an action fighter for jiu-jitsu, but he's low key, like really good and really adaptable.
Well,
and this match, I think, showcased like how adaptable Dan is.
We'll talk about something that he did that I think did optimize this rule set.
Yeah.
And
let's go into it. Honestly, I think you saw something really particular that you texted me, and I think it's a really, really interesting piece. So
yeah. So specifically, what Dan does later on in the match, and we'll go over some of the things in the beginning of the match in a second. But basically, Dan gets a pant grip, so they're kind of tied up, and Dan leans in, and this is a very slow movement. It's not like he exploded.
It's sneaky.
It's sneaky. But it's interesting, right? So he grabs a pants grip kind of around the knee, and then he's able
a little above,
but he's able to lift into a single leg.
Yep.
And it's interesting because it takes a long time for him to get this sequence, and Taylor's not addressing it. And I think it might be because they're just not accustomed in the current.
But I feel like Taylor like did enough with the legs when he was like, I don't know. It was interesting because you saw Dan kind of like walk it up, and like Taylor, like I think it was one of two things. Like Taylor was like not worried about it, which I could totally understand, or like he was looking to counter off it and wanted Dan to get into the right space. And you saw Dan get forward and kind of get beyond where I think Taylor thought he was going to get here.
Yeah.
And then like you just gotta have he really had to address it. And you're like, oh,
Dan almost gets an ippon here.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very close. And so I have a feeling that I don't know if judoka are training sprawls and things like grip breaking on the pants.
At high level gyms, I don't know anymore because it's just it's not part of like it's something guys definitely that Seth features would have trained.
Right.
Time. Like Seth is usually featuring guys that are like from that like from the 2000 like when it was still like allowed. And like that's a lot of the guys that Seth features. So it's like I assume they have those, but if they're still current and still training, I would assume that they have moved away from a lot of like still have it in their toolbox, but I'm not sure how often that they're busting it out, how often guys in their gym like that are even like newer than their era are really doing those to them. I don't know how many of these guys are training in jiu-jitsu either. It was a really interesting thing, and it was Dan kind of super sneaky getting that grip and almost gets it done.
Yeah.
And but Taylor like. I think after that point, Taylor realized, like, okay, I got to turn it up a little bit because this guy's actually like potentially going to give me some real problems.
Exactly. So off the bat, starting the match off, Dan Dykeman goes for a flying triangle, as you mentioned, and he
legit actually a pretty good flying triangle.
Yeah, pretty solid. And this is the thing that I find so awesome in judo. It is that okay, you've fallen, maybe it's not ippon, whatever, and you're getting up. The standing up in judo is the most dangerous like I've seen people get just fucking murdered trying to stand back up again. Like those judoka are so bloodthirsty when it comes to that. Like they will just seize upon your.
They are the best transitional, like in that middle, like that that 1/4 to 3/4 like up position. Judokas like for the counters on the throws, for like the rethrows, for like the snap down, like the chokes, like the arm bars. Really, it's so cool
just
because
the
it's
foot sweeps and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the foot sweeps in particular, and in this case. It's not a sweep, but Taylor launches an Ouchigari, which is the same side inside leg reap.
Yeah.
So,
this is actually really smooth too.
It was
smooth.
smooth.
From a technical perspective, like the way he locks it up and like drives over Dykeman was like really beautiful.
It's really, I mean, it's just really, it's awesome because he went from being threatened by a flying triangle to being like, nah, I'm gonna put you on your ass, like immediately, no hesitation at all. You can see it is locked into their muscle memory, the judoka. So he gets an ippon there, and he takes the back off of a really hard throw. And there's a hard choke here. He's like really
Dykeman takes the back. So yeah,
I thought Taylor took Dykeman's back.
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope. The reverse happened. Dan was on his back for a while, going choke. I thought he was gonna finish. He goes palm to palm. He's and
Seth is like leaning in real fucking hard.
Like, but because in the the commentary, I think finally got commentary that like understand what's going on. Seth is not gonna stand you up if you have the choke in.
Yeah,
so that's why they let you work on the ground for longer than 30 seconds. Seth does because he's not gonna let it go. If there's a sub in, you got to work out of the sub. Once the sub's gone,
sense.
Immediately. So as soon as Dykeman is not able to get the choke and Taylor's able to kind of like escape, then they stand it back up.
Right, absolutely. So that makes sense because then it was Dan on the back. He was actually doing a little bit of like the Wagner Hosha, like
smothered him. He's like he made it dirty.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, welcome to the ground.
Welcome to jiu-jitsu.
And I saw Seth shake his head here. Like Seth was just like it was real subtle. He was like, nah, and then Dan released the Wagner like smother. I'm not sure if that was what happened, but that's at least how I read it. It was really hilarious.
It was in the video. You can see it in the you can see what Seth does. And it just is. He makes a funny face too.
Yeah. So lots of Uchimata attempts by Taylor, and yeah, Dan had really great success. I think doing that like slow single off of the pants grip. So
he gets ipponed.
Yep.
Finally.
So what happens is Dan attempts a failed Kosotogari. So he goes for an outside reap. Yeah. And he fails, and Taylor just kind of boom, trucks him over on the counter for ippon.
And again, beautiful technique there to get the ippon nice and flat. And I kind of was like, I think that's ippon. And Seth comes over and calls it, and it's like, okay.
Yep.
Like, great match. Recommend it. Deservedly fight of the night for the Jokas. Great on Taylor for getting it done. Great on Dan for stepping up on, like, a day notice or something. Oh, cool. So cool thing on Fistful of Collars that Seth was talking about. He goes, because if you're on Fight to Win, if you're on Team No Sleep, which is their crew, at any given time, you have to travel with your gi and your no-gi stuff, because at any given time, you can be made to call up. I think Troy took a match like really short notice a couple weeks ago. Dan took this match on super short notice. Like, you have to be willing to step up at like any time to take a match. Right. And so it's like I really appreciate when guys can do it, like Troy and like Dan. I think Brittany's I may have taken late replacements. I know Seth's taken a bunch of late replacement stuff. Like, I love that these guys will like put up and put themselves on the line to keep the show going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, that's awesome. So, when we move on to the brown belt results?
Let's do it.
On to the brown belt results.
Eddie Elguero Wittern defeats Andres Muniz by neck crank.
And that was submission of the night for the brown belts.
Zach Mayo defeats Carlos Catella by triangle. Jacob Impak Harris defeats Brandon Gutierrez by leg lock. Brian Pierce defeats Gabe Nixon by footlock. Chris Orozco defeats Jorge Castaneda by decision.
And that was fight of the night for the brown belts.
So this was a great match. Like, it has Chris hitting a guillotine throw, ending up on bottom, but throwing up an immediate triangle. There's near back takes, standing like really violent snap downs, more submission attempts back and forth. It's definitely fight of the night for the brown belts. It's
the black
awesome.
brown belts.
That's right.
There was a couple of those matches on the card that were black belts versus brown belts.
Yeah.
I like that the Fight to Win does that more.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
The black brown belts.
Yeah.
Mario Fonseca defeats Nathan Stanton via decision. Sulian Lima defeats Lori Porsche via decision. Keep going, Emil. I can't do this forever.
Michael Lugo defeats William Watts by decision. Andres Ramirez defeats Chase Cozart by split decision. Justin Rennick defeats Alexander Skold by decision.
On to the purple belts.
Theo Lee defeats Tim Cuniff by toe hold.
And that was submission of the night for the purple belts.
Grayson Henley defeats Corey Ramos by heel hook. By the way, it's really funny. I think I'm getting older because like if I zoom in and make the text bigger, I can read the names a lot easier.
Dude, about 6 months ago, I had the same thing happen to me. I was like, I can't read this. And I zoomed
I'm like,
in.
why am I fucking up? And then I zoom in. And
I zoomed in the text, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I just got old. Like, that's like, because I was like, it wasn't like, it was significantly easier to read. And I went, oh, like, it was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm 28.
Don't look at me, man. I have no idea how fucking old you are.
That shit changes every year. It's hard to keep track.
So we have William Tackett of the famous Tackett brothers defeating Carlos Espinoza by arm triangle. I forgot he's a purple belt.
I mean, it's one of those, like, it's a purple belt.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those, like,
Ryan,
it's one of those in quotes like, there where it's like
murder everybody.
You're murdering black belts and like submitting like high level guys and like doing well at like all the events and winning this tournament and that tournament. It's like you're a purple belt.
Yep. Damon Arabalo defeats Chase Smith by decision.
Well, hold on. I want to talk about the Tackett match.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like, it was really good.
Yeah.
Tackett looked really, really good. Locks up like a nice arm triangle, locks hips through, and like just finishes it. Go back and watch this match. Like, you're going to be seeing more of Tackett. It was, I think, the third.
We've already seen a ton of the Tacketts.
We've been covering him like every third or every other week since trials.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
it's just like he's everywhere. And
on the circuit.
And he's winning everything. He's now the champion. I think this was for the purple belt. Was it lightweight? It's not listed in the results. I think it was the lightweight belt for the purple belts. Like, go back and watch this. I think it was the third from the main event or like the fourth from the main event.
Just
it's up there.
These things, man.
Dude, he's on a tear. I cannot wait to see what he looks like in like a year or 2 years.
Yeah,
because if you're winning this much at purple belt at his age, I cannot wait to see what your ceiling is.
100%.
Yeah,
and he of course has a sibling doing jiu-jitsu, and
for
whatever
who's
reason,
also really good.
I don't get it. I guess it's maybe having a training partner, having someone there to push you at every moment. If you are feeling like off or something, your little sibling wants to do jiu-jitsu, you gotta go in there.
Yeah.
And
we talked about it. We did Worlds recap, didn't we? Like, like brother sister combos or brother combos. It's just like there's so many like sibling more than almost I think any other sport I can think of. There's I also don't watch any other sports, so it's not a good example. And it's also many co-ed sports, but like sibling combos for jiu-jitsu are a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so like I cannot wait to see what him and his brother keep doing.
Yeah, really, really good. So we have Damon Arabalo defeating Chase Smith by decision. Micah Valdez defeating Travis Cole by decision.
On to the blue belt results. Speaking of the other Tackett brother.
Yep, Andrew Tackett defeating Tony Sulfa by rear naked choke. We have, and we'll talk about this one, Luke Perry defeating Mike Sanchez by Kimura.
So this was an awesome match. If you didn't catch kind of the preview, Mike Sanchez is blind. Yep. And Luke Perry was like, okay, he's blind, he can't see. I'm going to do this match blindfolded as well. It kind of even the playing field up. And it was a really, like, technically, Emil and I really enjoy covering these kind of matches because you see different styles of grappling that people implement. They started, and if you ever seen like someone blind wrestle before, or in tournaments you've seen them do jiu-jitsu, they always start. You have to have a hand on the other competitor.
Right.
You can't start in free space because that's just like not fair.
Right. So
Seth lines them up, starts them together, and you see Sanchez like he plays a body lock game.
Right. Yeah, it was really smart. So they both competitors are swimming for underhooks, like, and it makes sense. Like, you're not going to do a loose kind of like arm grip. If you don't have the visuals to kind of establish the distance, you have to like. I want everything I have to be like super body locking and super like high heavy underhooks. And you saw Sanchez like get
that
two
was
really nice underhooks and do an awesome body lock takedown.
Sanchez's entire game was off of that body lock, and even a lot of his escapes were like super high up, like looking for the body lock again on the escapes. He was in a super deep Kimura on the side of the mat, and he like rolls over, and then you see him kind of like roll through and out, and then immediately come up.
Luke got the Kimura on Mike. And, really deep. Mike rolls out. Really great attempt from Luke.
Eventually, kind of you see Luke kind of hunting the neck, and Luke's been hunting the neck the entire match. Eventually locks up like an arm and guillotine, kind of close to the mat. Seth's kind of pushing him back on the mat, and Luke's able to kind of change the angle enough to get the
Kimura, right? Like
no. It was the first one was a Kimura, and he
Got it.
finishes with the arm and guillotine.
Got it.
So the results here say Kimura, but it was the actual finish was the arm and guillotine finish.
Got it.
So really good match, really cool match. Again, I really like these kind of matchups because they showcase like different styles of grappling, and grappling is for everyone. Don't let anyone tell you different because Fight to Win's going to feature you.
Yeah, that's right.
On to the next one.
Evan Kutzer defeats Corey Ramos by straight ankle. Blake Anthony Carter defeats Danny McDonald by heel hook. Adam Fujawa defeats Joshua Woosley by heel hook. Joey Miranda defeats Riker Simmons by heel hook. Chris Chapa defeats Alex Assad by decision.
On to the kids and teens results.
Cole Abate defeats Tyler Ard by triangle.
And becomes the Fight to Win Teen Nogi Flyweight Champion. This is actually a fun match.
Zane Mengen defeats Nate Riley by armbar.
And that was submission of the night for the kids and teens.
Jackson Glass defeats Refugio Salgado by split decision.
And that was Friday night for the kids and teens.
Blaise Prescott defeats Junior Aparicio by split decision. Philip Brown defeats Xavier Ruiz by decision. And John Pineda Jr. defeats Jose Aguilar Jr. by decision.
So that does it for Fight to Win 121 in Austin, Texas. On to the next one. So on to our preview of Kasai Pro 6. This event takes place in Atlantic City, New Jersey on August 17th and features some great super fights and an 8-man, 135-pound tournament, as well as our buddy David Brennan has a match on that card as well on the undercard.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking awesome.
So we're going to start super fights or the tournament? What do you want to do first?
Let's talk the super fights because that'll be quick. And we got Yuri Samoas versus Keenan Duarte. That's going to be fucking awesome.
This potentially is a preview for ADCC. I believe these two guys are in the same division.
Yeah.
It's a no-gi bout.
Yeah.
So
we're going to see them bringing the fucking heat. I mean, not that either of them wouldn't, but like I think especially they're going to be testing certain things.
This is actually a really, I think a much more competitive. I mean, I feel like this is going to be a real close match because Yuri, we saw Yuri beat Lovato recently at Fight to Win, and Lovato was the reigning champion, beat some big guys, and Lovato's a monster, and Yuri looked really good against him and took a pretty good decision.
I know that the gi guys are frequent, especially the Atos guys are usually really good at no-gi as well.
They have that style that is kind of
it goes both ways.
In a big way.
I will say we see Yuri in a lot more of these no-gi events.
He's the champion at ADCC.
Yeah.
He's been a black belt. He's got the experience. Yuri, for all the wrestling stuff going on recently, is amazing as a grappler and very, very elite and very, very hard to beat.
And the other thing too is this is a super fight. It's not a tournament, which means Yuri's going to be at 100% Yuri.
Honestly, I kind of want to pick Yuri here. The Duarte is the younger guy, the faster guy, but I think Yuri's experience.
This is the first time in the past year that I'm probably going to pick
against Duarte.
Yeah.
I feel like one of us should pick Kane. Honestly, I just feel like I feel like Yuri has a deeper depth of tools in order to get it done. He's been there before. Duarte has faced guys like Yuri before, but
obviously
Yuri's
I'll be happy
the real
if Keenan
deal.
wins, but
Yeah, I think this should be a really, really good. I feel like this would be a little bit of a slower matchup, but I feel like we'll see a lot of it on the feet initially. I don't think either guy subs, but it also wouldn't be out of their own possibility to see someone get to someone's back and finish a choke either. I think that's kind of the two ways this gets finished, either on the back with the choke or by decision in a really tightly contested match.
Yep. So
next match,
we got Mateus Diniz versus Josh Hinger.
Another really, really good matchup.
Great. We got, Mateus Diniz, obviously a sort of paragon for Marcelo Garcia, and we got Josh Hinger, also a paragon for Atos. And these guys, another potential ADCC matchup.
Mm-hmm. This one's honestly really much harder to pick, I think, for me, because I'm honestly I'm a little less familiar with how I'm not familiar. I can't picture what I think Mateus will look against Hinger. I'm really familiar with Hinger's game, but I don't know how Mateus's game will match up with Hinger. I feel like it's gonna be again a lot on the feet. Both guys are prepping for ADCC. I'm not sure how dynamic the takedown game is going to be. Both these guys can take the fight anywhere.
It's hard to envision.
This is honestly another really, really even matchup on the main card.
But it's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love both of those guys.
So the 8-man, anything else on that one?
No.
All right. On the 8-man, 135-pound tournament, we have Junior Ocasio in this one now, newly promoted black belt.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week's show.
Gio Martinez, Joao Miao, John Calistine, Ashley Williams,
Richard Alarcon. I thought
yep.
you were going to mess up Alarcon's name, so I tried to get it for you.
Thank you. Rafael Freitas and Masakazu Imanari.
Word. One of my favorite dudes ever.
God motherfucking damn.
So anyone that finishes a Barato Plata or an Imanari roll gets extra $1,000, by the way. Kasai Pro announced it today on Twitter.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, no, seriously. Yeah,
Oh
yeah, an
my
extra
God.
$1,000. You finish a Barato Plata or an Imanari roll.
That's hilarious. That's so dope that they both have. I mean, we might see an
That's
Imanari
cool. Come
roll.
on, that's really cool. I would be super disappointed if we don't see an Imanari roll in this event.
Yeah, but I mean, like, look, we got John Calistine.
You
fucking
have
Imanari.
Imanari.
I know, but I'm saying there's other people who will do it as well.
Yes, but you have the guy the move is named after him. You're like, well, maybe John Calistine. Like, no, probably if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Imanari.
I mean, Gio also.
They all can do it, and they all have done it, and they've all finished with it. But you have actual Imanari, the guy. It's like, oh, I finished Marcelo team, and Marcelo's on the card too. It's like, I'm gonna go with Marcelo on this one, Emil.
Yeah.
You're gonna hedge your bets on some other grappler that's not the guy the move is named after.
This is great though. I mean, like
I don't know how they're gonna bracket it. Usually they do the same things like Podia does, same thing that like a bunch of the events do. The same thing that Shugyo does, where it's like they have two different sides of the bracket and they do a round robin and then the winners fight off. So I don't really know where to start with that one because it's a lot of guys. Like we're just speculating kind of aimlessly and
yeah. I
baselessly.
mean, I can maybe speculate the people that get to the semifinals. Right?
Gio and Joao.
Joao. I would pick Calistine over any of the other ones.
It's tough. I think like, we've seen Imanari have some tough matchups recently. He's lost a little bit of that pop and speed. Barata's good again, but all these guys, like we saw Alarcon versus Ocasio, and that was a really, really close match. Ocasio, like I think he beat him, and then there's a dropout, so Ocasio got in. Like again, really good grappler. Ash Williams, like, is a guy that looks really good, has some dynamic ability, has some good finishing ability.
He's been on Kasai before.
Mm-hmm. He's been on, I think, Polaris too, and we cover him
Yeah.
all the time. Like all these guys are there's not a single dude on here that we haven't covered on the show.
Yeah.
Most of them we've covered like repeatedly on the show. Like, and it could be anyone's game, but you have Joao and you have Gio, which are two of the top people in the weight class.
Yeah, those
and that's
two-
why it's like not I don't want to put anything against any of the competitors. Everyone here. This is honestly a really amazing lineup, a super exciting lineup, but you have two of the best guys in the weight class. It's really hard. I think Calistine has a win over Martinez.
Yeah,
but
he does. Yeah, by decision. That's what I was just looking up.
at EBI, right? I think it was at the EBI 135 when he replaced Cummings.
Oh, that's right. He
Yeah.
did. He won EBI, and then
Actually, I thought it actually might have been before you were on the show. It might have been that far ago.
it might have been. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but I think, again, it's I've gotten burned way too many times picking against Meow
Oh,
and Gio.
interesting. So Calistine has his most recent loss is to Richard Alarcon at Trials.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, shit.
Yeah. So
See, this is a good bracket.
yeah, this is a good bracket.
This
But
is that fire bracket.
he also has the Kasai win over Johnny Grippo. So Calistine is definitely in there.
Definitely, I think he's more in the mix than I kind of gave him credit for.
Yeah.
Again, any of these guys, it'd be one of those things, any of these guys could do it.
Right.
And it's like, there's a couple guys that I would like favor. I'm always going to favor, like in this format, like Meow and Gio, just because they're usually at the top of this format. But other guys have other wins over each other. So it's a really, really well-matched bracket.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Kasai's always fire.
Yeah.
And I probably I won't be able to cover it as
I
per
can't either.
tradition.
I'm gone for this week. I'm going to cover it because I'll be back. But like, I'm gone. I can't go to it live. I was going to go to Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And my cousin's like, you're not going to trip with me that weekend, right? I was like, wait, what? Like, I was looking at hotels and looking at things. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go. And then my cousin's like, we planned this trip like 6 months ago. I was like,
Fuck you.
I mean, it's like North Carolina.
Yo, fuck
like,
your family, man.
I'm thinking about it, but like,
No, I'm kidding.
so this will be great. Tune in for it. I'm going to hopefully have Wi-Fi at the place, regardless I'm using data for this one. So anything else on this, Emil?
Nah.
Awesome. On to the next one. All right, so happening August 16th is it Kinektic?
Kinektic, yeah.
Kinektic Grappling. Me and I try to pull out some information on this. It's 4 5-person teams, 5-men teams. Captains are Craig Jones, Anthony Smith, I think Uriah Faber, Chris Lytle, Chael Sonnett. I think Uriah's just doing commentary with Paige Van Zandt. I can't find much information about it or like the grapplers. I'm having a super hard
Fight
time.
Pass doesn't have much information on the way of it. I do know it's happening at 10 p.m. on Pacific time.
It kind of
on
looks like a
August 16th.
quintet style event.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they're running basically an American version of quintet, considering that, like, Jones has been on quintet, Uriah Faber's been on quintet. Like, it wouldn't surprise me that they're running something like that, considering it's a team-based grappling thing that's featured those guys.
Yeah, but that's all that we have right now. So
Yeah, literally, that's all I got. So look out for it. It should be a lot of fun, like, given the people that are on it. Like, Craig Jones always brings the fire, so we'll be covering it, but I don't have much other information right now.
right.
So on to our preview of Fight to Win 122. This event takes place in Scottsdale, Arizona on August 16th, and it's main evented by a 170-pound black belt nogi bout, Augusto Tiquinho Mendez versus Marcelo Mafra. That's a lot of fun. Big Tiquinho fan.
Huge Tiquinho fan. He won me over in the
Wagner match.
Yeah,
that was it was one of our fights of the year.
Yeah.
2018.
Yeah.
Not
It was
2019.
that unbelievable 50-50 battle.
Yeah,
Like, just
and then
really
it gets to
fucking
the
good.
back, and Wagner's smothering him, and like, dude, Tiquinho, that was an awesome match.
That was a great
and
match.
like, Tiquinho is a world champion. Like, dude brings the heat. So
Absolutely.
don't miss that one. The co-main event is a featherweight black belt masters title. We have Oswaldo Criscinho Moisinho versus Thiago Barros. I know Josh is gonna give me shit for that name.
Greatest name in jiu-jitsu. I fucking love that name.
Criscinho.
Criscinho Moisinho.
Yep.
125-pound females masters title. Tracy Goodell versus Karen Atunez.
So I was reading through these a little bit ago, and I was like, that should be a title bout. And I looked up, I was like, oh, that's title bout. Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, I think one of those has a title. Honestly, that is low-key going to be like a really, really, really good matchup.
Yeah, and another really great female 155-pound black belt gi match. Brenda Heller versus Claudio Duval. It's going to be fucking great.
Mm-hmm. Should be a really good matchup. 220-pound black belt gi bout.
Vinicius Ferreira versus Felipe Becerra.
205-pound Masters black belt title.
John Cabet versus Bo Tribole.
235-pound black belt gi bout.
Francisco France versus Josh Guerra.
195-pound no-gi bout.
Jose Munoz versus Lucas Lopez.
190-pound black belt no-gi.
Javier Torres versus Tim Welsh.
185-pound black belt.
Jake Watson versus Samir Abdulakar.
175-pound black belt gi bout.
Guillermo Neves versus Matt Blank.
180-pound black belt gi bout.
Tyson Antillon versus Matthew Gillette.
175-pound black belt gi bout.
Joey Medina versus Jay Shellhammer.
170-pound black belt gi bout.
Hobson Rodriguez versus Joe Murphy.
170-pound black belt gi bout.
Victor Emmanuel versus Ismat Abdulmahid.
160-pound black belt match.
Dan Radoff versus Jason Hensley.
Yo, it keeps going.
Yep.
155-pound black belt gi bout.
Gabriel Roveredo versus Jordan Gomez.
150-pound black belt gi bout.
Josh Rodriguez versus to be announced.
120-pound judo match.
210-pound judo match.
What'd I say?
I don't know.
The wrong thing?
110-pound or something.
210-pound. That's be a small judo match.
Thiago Jimenez versus Vernon Kirk.
We have a super heavyweight no-gi bout.
Austin Baker versus Leonard Miller.
Then we move into the brown belt matches. Dude, that is a giant black belt card.
Yeah,
like,
that's
low key.
huge.
I don't remember the last time I've seen, like, a black belt card that big. It might have been one of, like, the Cali cards early in the year. We also have Sean O'Malley's on this card, 155-pound purple belt no-gi bout. Sean O'Malley, the UFC fighter, the little thin guy. So that'll be cool. I think he's currently suspended, so that actually makes sense. Cool to see him in more grappling matches. This looks like an awesome card. I am, like, super surprised there's that many black belts on the card.
Yeah.
Should be awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else, Emil?
That's it.
All right. So on to our preview of Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, EBI, Combat Jiu-Jitsu. I think, what do they want to call it? Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds?
Combat Jiu-Jitsu, because
Okay.
it sounds like EBI is coming back, right?
Oh, yeah, Eddie announced that this week. He's like, hey, we're going to establish all the CJJ champions, and then we're going to be running, like, both of them. We're running Jiu-Jitsu, like EBI, old school that everyone wants, and the CJJ. We're not abandoning CJJ. We're not abandoning EBI. We're going to establish our champions first and then bring it back. So
Cool.
I'm happy. I can live with that.
Yeah.
I want us to see more EBI because I'm more of a fan of the format. But this event takes place on August 18th and does feature some really exciting guys. Let's go through the names.
Yeah, we got Nathan Orchard, obviously a huge 10th Planet name.
He's on Shugyo that we're going to talk about here in a bit.
Hunter Colvin, Bobby Emmons, John Paul Boisnan, Cody Steele.
We just
who
saw him this week.
Tom Galiccio, Khalil Fadala, Justin Falk, Varnon Sholian, Vinicius DeJesus, Ruben Rivera, David Farias, David Garmo.
Oh, damn. David Garmo's in this. I forgot about that.
Andrew McInnes, and Derek Kennington, and Caesar Azarmanida.
So a lot of fun people in this, dude. Hunter Colvin. There's actually some real good names in this. Hunter Colvin, Cody Steele,
Yeah.
Nathan Orchard, David Garmo. Like, there's some real guys that can give people some problems here. So should be a lot of fun. Takes place on August 18th. Usually there's some other super fight matchups in there as well. Stay tuned for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on to our preview of the Shugyo Invitational. So if you're hearing this podcast right now, the first episode is out on the Shugyo YouTube page. You can find them on Shugyo on Instagram. Directly after this piece right here, you're going to hear an interview with me and Phill Schwartz, the promoter for Shugyo. Talks about the event in a little more detail. And actually, at the time of this recording, Emil and I have not got a chance to watch the first episode. It literally came out as Emil and I were sitting down to record. I didn't want to delay the episode like another 30 or 45 minutes as we put together notes and talk about it. So we're going to cover it on next week's show, but listen to the interview with Phill and I coming up directly after this. I know Emil and I are super excited about the event.
Yeah, I'm excited about this from a broader standpoint too. Like not just the event itself, which looks really, really exciting, but this format actually makes a lot of sense because we are not living in jiu-jitsu is not a sport necessarily where it's not like a football league or a league where you need the week to week results in order to understand where everyone stands.
Exactly.
It's more, we're an event we're in a sport where the events are a little bit more independent and you can watch them a little bit more on as sort of in isolation or independently. And I'm excited for people to pause.
I watched the first 10 minutes of this episode.
Dude, really
it's
high
produced so well.
Exactly.
It's just interviews, it's back and forth. It watches like a TV. Like from what I watched right now, it watches like a TV show. I was actually kind of upset that you came to my house when you did because I was watching it. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I was like, we're gonna record. I was like, man, I got 15 more minutes of this episode to watch.
But it's kind of like how these events were like jiu-jitsu used to be like VHSs and DVDs, right?
And so you get the high quality stuff. So this event looks like that. Again, Phill and I talk about this in more detail in the interview you're going to hear right now. But Emil and I brought this up and talked about it. Again, I want to just talk about it more because honestly, I am kind of excited for potentially more events to do stuff like this because I feel like just from watching what I've seen, if you get, the guys you have in your event or the women you have in your event to just sign an NDA and be quiet about it, you can produce potentially a really, really good broadcast event. You may miss on the gate, but event for guys like us gets me really excited to cover some really well produced, I can sit back and enjoy event.
Exactly, because there's nothing worse than an event happening. You know what the results of the event are, and the video hasn't released, and you weren't able to watch it live.
But it happens to us all the time.
It happens all the time. So
it's he subbed him. Oh, man, I wish I would have not had that spoiled for me. There's actually a couple points at the end of the interview. So Phill and I conclude the interview, and I talked to Phill a little after, and I started asking a couple questions, and I was like, oh no, wait. I was like, don't answer any of these. I asked him basically how long was the entire thing took to film, and I was like, no, don't tell me because that'll tell me how long some of the matches are. And I was like, I want to go into this completely not even as an analyst, what we do as a fan, and just watch the event. And then at the end, once everything concludes, I'm going to talk, interview Phill again and ask all the production and behind the scenes questions that I'm curious about after the event. So look out for that interview once Shugyo kind of concludes. But right now you can hear my interview with Phill. Anything else, Emil?
That's it.
Awesome. So listen to the interview. So how you doing? We got Phill Schwartz here with the Shugyo Invitational. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah, that's right, Shugyo.
Okay, good. I wanted to make sure just because we have a tendency to butcher names on the show. So I got a couple questions for you, Phill. I'm really excited about your event. Your event popped up seemingly kind of out of nowhere a few weeks ago, and I saw that you had a bunch of big-name grapplers on it, guys that we really love covering on our show. And I had a bunch of questions for you, so I messaged one of the guys that was on the event, and they were like, you're going to have to talk to the promoter. We can't say anything. And so I talked to you. And you have an event that is coming out, most likely coming out the same day as this recording is going to air on YouTube. Tell me about Shugyo. What's the rules for the event? Run through what the event is.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Shugyo is an event that we came up with because we really wanted to get back to what we feel like is maybe the purest version of jiu-jitsu, right? And that's just two guys step onto the mat and they fight until one of them taps out the other guy. And so what we have done is we've created a submission-only, no time limit event. So there are no judges, there are no points, there are no referee decisions, there's no overtime. There's basically no way to win except to submit your opponent. And format-wise, what we've done is we've created an 8-man division and 2 4-man groups. And so each group competes round robin.
Okay, we've seen that before. So typically
Yeah,
the
exactly.
guy wins, gets 1 point. And you had a really interesting, we talked before, a really interesting way you dealt with draws there as well.
Correct. Yeah, actually. So in the event of a draw on points, so the thing about the round robin that's great is that it gives each athlete a guarantee of 3 matches. So every athlete is guaranteed 3 matches. There's no such thing as like a one and done. And a lot of athletes will tell you like, hey, my first match is always my toughest match, my worst match, shaking off that rust. So we really wanted athletes to have an opportunity to tell their story. So in the event you're going to have 3 guaranteed matches, let's say that 2 competitors win 2 matches and lose 1 match.
Very, very possible, especially with the caliber of guys you have on this event.
Exactly. And so it's totally possible to take a loss, win 2 matches, and you might have, at the end of round 1, when you've had your 3 matches, you might have on paper the same amount of points as someone else. And so the way we're going to handle that is if someone has the same amount of points, if there's a tie on points, we're going to go to whoever scored their submissions faster.
Okay.
Not total match time, only submission time.
Okay. So, yeah, because you run that no time limit format. And so we were talking about it before the recording. So you're releasing this in episode. This has already happened. There's already, the entire tournament's already finished. And that was like the craziest thing to hear from me. But
Right.
Emil and I talked about it probably 3 weeks ago at this point, that basically what you're doing is you've run a great event in a format that might not be the most viewer friendly. You're cutting it up into episodes that are really digestible, and then you're putting it out for people to view and creating this really, really high level product. That was just like so cool to hear about. And we talked about it. We watch a lot of jiu-jitsu, and I like the no time limit format, but again, sometimes it's really hard to watch. So I really like what you guys are doing. You've already run it. You're cutting it up to make it really viewer friendly and putting it out on YouTube for free for people to enjoy.
Yeah, and we're putting out the edited episodes, so there's going to be a lot of different ways to digest the content. If you only want to see, if you're very like results focused and you just want to kind of see who won every match, we're going to have edited versions of the matches, and you can see those on Instagram TV. If you want a little bit more content, if you want to hear the stories of the athletes, because that's something else that is really important to us, is to tell the story of all these athletes. So the guy that comes in first place, the guy that comes in second place, the guy that comes in third place, we want to know everyone's story, every athlete. And a lot of times in a big tournament, like if you think about even a big invitational, we're going to hear a little bit of the story of the guy that wins the tournament, basically in his post-fight interview after winning the tournament. Someone's going to say, hey, wow, you came a long way. You won the tournament. That's awesome. But we never hear from anybody else. We never know the guy that the second place, the third place, they also worked really hard, And so we're trying to create these episodes that give a little bit more context into what it's like to be a competitor who's out there on the edge, testing yourself every weekend in some cases, So the episodes are going to have more interviews, more behind the scene content that we can talk about. And we're also going to put the full fights up on YouTube, available to everyone, because we have some real jiu-jitsu nerds out there that want to study every single second of these matches. And so
that's kind of us here.
Yeah, we want to make that available. We've had, you maybe wouldn't be surprised, but we've had a lot of feedback from people who have seen the episodes, and they really want to see those full matches. So that's definitely going to become available too.
Yeah, I was excited you were talking about the guys doing that commentary after their, basically in the episode, you were talking about guys would actually come in, the grapplers, and commentate sections of their match.
Correct, yeah. So basically we're going to see the match twice in every episode. And so first we're going to see the edited cut of the match, which is really like the highlights of the match. Think about like Sports Center, like the best moments of that match. So don't, expect that to be the teaser, but that's not really the meat and potatoes, And from there we go into what I like to call the kind of DVD commentary section, where the athletes themselves are breaking down the fight for you, and they're giving you their play-by-play, letting you know what each moment was like in the match. And then we're watching that again with multi-camera video high resolution. We got some really high resolution equipment for this event.
That's awesome. I always really appreciate what the behind the scenes athlete perspective. I know a couple athletes do it, and I always find it very, very insightful because a lot of times they are seeing different things than what I was seeing, or they're concerned about different things, or you get insight as to, oh yeah, this guy was on my back, he'd been on my back before. I knew that, I could chuck him off so I can rest in this position, especially in that no time limit format. That gamesmanship really comes into play, and I think it's really great that you're having that narration from the athletes, so to give people like me that really enjoy analyzing that stuff better insight into what those guys were thinking at the time directly after the match. It's a really cool format. Let's talk about payout, because I know that you were $5,000 purse for the winner. That's a pretty substantial payout. Like, what do you have? Do you have other payouts for other places or anything else?
Yeah, so we actually ended up paying out over $10,000 to the athletes in total. And that broke down like this. The first place prize was $5,000. The second place prize, because, again, we have to show love to that guy that made it all the way to the finals. And
we appreciate
I
that.
I feel a little bit of that in myself, because I feel like I'm like the king of second place. Like, I feel like in my own competition career, I've come up in second place so many times. And it's such a struggle, to get all the way there. And even if you make a mistake in the finals, you still worked so hard and you had some other tough matches. So
especially in this bracket format, to get to the finals is no joke. You've gone through the 4-man round robin, and then you've scored the most points in that, and then the other guy who's also done the same thing, and you meet in the finals. That's a pretty decent level to get to that, and then to have that guy walk away with nothing. I really do appreciate when promotions like that pay out the second place guy for getting as far as he did, because he put on a show.
Absolutely, and he's a huge part of the story. And so we paid the second place $1,500, which is usually that could be the grand prize of a lot of regional, tournaments. So that's no joke. And then we paid fastest submission $1,000 as well.
Nice.
And we paid every single competitor $400 of travel money on arrival. So as soon as they showed up at the event, they were compensated $400 for travel, which I know that a lot of events don't do. I myself have actually, spent thousands of dollars traveling around the country to compete at different events, including flights, hotels, rental cars, day pass to 24-hour fitness so you can cut weight,
Yep.
Entry fee to the tournament. So it's expensive being a competitor. And I wanted these athletes, these athletes were really stepping up to a different kind of challenge, and I wanted them to feel like they were being treated like professionals for what they were putting themselves through. So everyone was guaranteed that $400 of travel money, and that all added up to, over $10,000 of payout directly to the athletes.
That's
and
awesome.
I was also really happy because, we have 8 guys and we paid three spots, so percentage wise, that's a huge amount of the actual tournament contestants are paid out.
Yeah, almost half your tournaments, like, your guys get paid out. That's great to see. I'm always really happy to see, more guys on the card getting paid out, because that's how we see a higher level of professional grapplers, that guys can be professional competitors. I think events like yours do that, and that's really one of the reasons I really wanted to talk to you. So I got a couple other questions that I kind of want to ask is, what's next? Do you guys plan on running more events as a one-time thing?
Okay, great question. For me personally, going into the organization of the event, I had to come to terms with the fact that, it was really hard to do the fundraising. I have to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, Zebra Athletics, Feed Me, Fight Me, Mad Ritual, and Doc Susara. Those were our main sponsors, and they came on board, and, credit to them, because they believed in something that had never been done before, and I explained to them why I thought the tournament was special and what I thought would be different about it, and why, hopefully viewers were gonna take a look at it. But hey, we haven't dropped any episodes yet. We really have no idea how this is going to be critically received, and so hopefully people are as into it as we all are. But at the end of the day, of course we want to do more events. We have some really exciting plans that I'd love to tell you about. But at the end of the day, we also had to be okay with this being kind of like an art project. Like, to me, I mean, I've never made an indie film before, but this was a really interesting project for us. And it had to be able to be something that could be a standalone, but we would love to do more. And I'll tell you that this is a little bit of insider information, but I'll tell you that my next, there's a couple of guys in the tournament who really want to come back at 145. You know, we have Ethan Krellinston, we have
Yep.
Keith Krikorian, we have Jordan Holy.
Yep.
We have some other guys that have thrown their names out there that are, you know, really interested in 145. You know, Marvin Castell, Sean Applegate, John Calistine. You know, so we have there's some fire at 145 that's interested in this format.
I'm also in that division, so I'm real happy with guys getting showcased at 145. I like to see the little guys get showcased.
Oh, I thought you were saying you're waiting for your invite.
No, my back's broken right now. I'm good. I'll watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah, but honestly, before we do that 145, if we can, I really want to do the women's 135 and below division, because I think that, you know, when you look at how women compete, and the technique and also the ferocity that women bring to jiu-jitsu competition, I think is really awesome, and I love seeing the high level women go after it. So I think that, you know, telling that story would maybe be an even more fitting follow-up to a next event, you know. And you mentioned this in the beginning of the show, but, you know, part of the fun for us was being able to keep this secret and drop this on the world, you know, and it was a challenge too, because, you know, at any moment the truth could have started leaking out there, you know. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world, because even if results started to leak out, like, only I have the footage, so everyone else has to stay tuned to really see it. You know,
I was really amazed, because what we do here at the Grappling Grind is we cover pretty much all events, and so to have an event like this at this caliber kind of sneak up on me was pretty astounding, and I was very, very happy. I went, whoa, like, events with these caliber guys don't just usually sneak up and pop up out of nowhere. So really congrats to you on setting this whole thing up. I really dig the format. I'm really looking forward for the first episode. I think by the time this actually comes out, the first episode will be on YouTube, so highly recommend everyone that's listening to this, pause the episode, throw it over to YouTube, go watch the first episode, and watch. How many episodes do you guys release in a week?
We're gonna try and do one episode every week.
Okay.
And that's we're gonna have a lot of bonus content, so to keep you going and keep you kind of like excited. There's gonna be a lot of bonus content coming out. We have a lot of backstage interviews. We have a lot of additional bonus content with the fighters. You know, we have a lot of we have those full matches to release as well. But yeah, our production team is working to crank out these episodes, because we want the world to see what's going on, and we want everyone to be able to follow this episodically.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, and so the format of the episodes is there's going to be 7 episodes total, and the first 6 episodes are going to cover those first 12 matches. And every episode is going to flip from bracket to bracket. So in episode 1, we're going to be introduced to bracket 1, and we're going to see a match with every competitor from bracket 1. Okay. And then in episode 2, we're going to be introduced to bracket 2, and then we're going to kind of flip back and forth. So we'll see in episode 3, we're going to see the second round of bracket 1, and we're going to keep going back and forth. So we're going to be able to, so I mean, like, if your favorite fighter is in bracket 1, then it's episode 1, episode 3, episode 6. You know what I mean? If your favorite fighter is in bracket 2, it's episode 2, episode 5, and so on. You know?
Yeah, I get it.
So
awesome. Sweet. That sounds amazing. Anything else you want to add? Anything else you need to plug? I really appreciate the time you guys gave us. I'm super excited for your event. It's really cool all around. It's a really interesting format, and I cannot wait to see the first episode.
Yeah, the best thing that people can do if they're interested in the event is follow us on Instagram at Shugyo_Invitational, and our website is the best way to get our video content, and that is theshugyo.com. And don't Google it, because, you know, search engine optimization, blah, 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 but just go into your browser and type in theshugyo.com, and that'll take you straight to our stuff.
Awesome. Hey, Phil, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you, man.
Really quick, wanted to recap the finals match for the SOGi 3. It was Keith Krikorian versus Jordan Holy, and we saw Keith Krikorian get it done. I think be a rear naked choke. Really good match. I skimmed through it real quick, because we had a lot of other stuff going on this week. Didn't get a chance to watch the rest of the event, but that match is up. It's really funny because Krikorian and Holy are in the Shugyo Invitational, so I'm curious to see if they're bracketed on the same side. I think in the first episode we'll find out, but I haven't got a chance to watch the first episode yet. So yeah, I'm super excited to see that.
I love seeing, like, names that we see all the time: Jordan Holy, Keith Krikorian, seeing them go at it. It's just awesome, and it's great to see those matchups so close together too, like to see kind of like rematches that quickly, because you can kind of get a feel for like,
Oh, yeah.
was it a fluke? Was it like
Jordan Holy's running an event this weekend as well, the Holy Invitational. I think Holy Grail Invitational. We didn't get a chance to cover it on the show, but highly recommend if you get a chance, like go find that event, go seek it out. Again, it honestly just a little too much stuff for us to cover this coming week for us to like go through the previews of that event as well. But he is having that event, so take a look at it. Really a big fan of what they're doing. So anything else on this though?
No.
How was your trip?
Oh, it's awesome, man. It's like a proper vacation. I have another proper vacation coming up. So I was in Michigan last week. I'll be going to Puerto Rico this week. Which
Really?
would be dope, yeah.
I didn't know. I thought you were going someplace else.
No.
That's pretty
Puerto
dope.
Rico
We're in Puerto Rico.
So my family's from the east side, so it's like actually right at the people
Talk
don't know
into
this,
the mic.
but like there's a huge rainforest in Puerto Rico. And
Okay.
It's a national park, and so
Okay.
my family's like basically from right there, so I'm gonna get to go.
Oh, that's slick.
Yeah.
Where's it called?
It's called.
Do you wanna dox yourself?
El Yunque. So
I couldn't.
I mean, it's a
El
huge
Yunque?
fucking rainforest. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it'll be great. I'm really looking forward to
How
it.
long are you going for?
A week. So,
Sweet. Just you or just like family? Or
My
you
family, my
Nice,
girlfriend.
that's
like, It's gonna
awesome.
be dope.
That should be slick. I've never actually made it out there. I've always wanted to like
Dude,
to go down.
I will tell you about it. It's dirt cheap to go.
Is it
and-
really? I thought the flights were expensive.
Nah, man. Like I've flown round trip to Puerto Rico. Granted, it's from New York City but it was like $180.
Really?
From Baltimore, it's about like 300.
Okay, that might be what I was looking at.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
Yeah,
we
dude.
there for the whole week?
Yeah, I'll be there for the week.
Nice. That's awesome. So you're not on next week's show. Are you on the previous the following week?
Yep.
I am gonna make a calendar.
Yeah.
A co-host calendar. I think I talked about it like literally. I think more than a year ago. It might have been even just Josh and I. And it was when you came on, you were traveling more. I was like, I gotta make a co-host calendar. And I did like 2 weeks of it, and I was like, this is hard. And then I realized I just gotta pull out a Google Calendar, label it Grappling Rewind hosts, and then like list.
And then we can pair, like we'll do the availability thing, and
Yeah.
like, and that way we don't have to like go and
like
upload.
week to week, I find out we record the show on like a Monday night. It's like, hey, next Sunday or Monday, who is available? Also, we covered all of these events. Can you read up on them, and then can you watch them all? And then it's like, and then Josh is just like, I mean, I'll do it, but like,
Yeah.
I would appreciate more notice.
Yeah.
So I've notified Josh many a day on like a Wednesday, like, oh yeah, Emil's out next week. He's like, fuck, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So again, we're getting more professional with the lights, with the setup. This will be the first time we've done the full like recording of the show. I wonder if it's going to be amazingly difficult to edit.
And we'll find out.
So we got all the content coming out on YouTube. Emil's working on some stuff as well.
Yeah.
I'm working on some more videos. I think I'm going to put a lot of the ADCC stuff on YouTube and our social media because I'm going to be filming a lot of like the videos actually. I'm going to try to figure out either do a single camera setup or a multi-camera setup for ADCC to actually film a lot of the stuff as well as do a lot of it for the social media. So I'm not exactly certain how I'm going to do that. I'm still kind of planning it out with like me, but you're gonna go now, so that's
Yeah, I'll
awesome
be
to see
there.
if you can be involved in some of that. I am super excited. We are about to kick off like I think what is a turning point behind the scenes here, what I think is a kind of a turning point for the Grappling Rewind and really like producing some much higher level content and really like bringing the coverage that we do for events and overall kind of the production for the show and broadening it out and keeping the quality for the audio podcast there. So I'm super excited. I think this is the first like big change I've made in the show since its inception, and I'm very, very excited for kind of what the future holds for us.
I'm super excited too. I think it's awesome. I think it's gonna be a whole new level of like plugging in with the community, and covering events, really like going out there, and it's exciting to kick this off with ADCC. So
I'm super excited for it. As always, I'm your host Maine,
and I'm your co-host Emil,
and we will see you on the mats. So real quick thing, as we're recording, basically as I'm editing this episode on Monday night at 9:55, Gordon Ryan has just announced he's replacing Jake Shields on Kinektic, so enjoy that. We're out. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.